Hey there, ELCers. Mr. Talbot here. Mrs. Wallace had talked to me about doing a video for you guys and doing some art with you in a video so that you guys could create some stuff with me while you're at home. So I said I'd be happy to do that. So here I am in my apartment at my table, at my art making table, and we're going to do some artwork together, okay? So we're going to do something really fun that I've been doing with some other students. We're going to be using washable markers, so Crayola markers. They're called washable because if they get in your clothes, your parents can wash out the colors. They come out. So when the colors get wet, they bleed, okay, and they run. So we can use that to work with markers in different ways. We're going to work with markers as a paint and as a printing tool, which is a lot of fun. So these are the tools you're going to need to collect. You're going to need washable markers. They have to be washable. They don't have to be Crayola brands, but they have to be washable. You're going to need a Sharpie. So the Sharpie is permanent. The washable markers are not. So you want a Sharpie. You're going to want a cup of water. You're going to want a paintbrush. You're going to want some aluminum foil, and I'll get that out here in just a bit. Paper towels, scissors, and a piece of paper. And you're going to need thick paper, all right? So ask your parents if they have some thicker paper that you can work with. Some of you might even have watercolor paper. That works really well, but you're going to want it to be thicker drawing paper. Regular paper does not work. You do want it to be thicker, okay? So one more time. Washable markers, cup of water, paintbrush, Sharpie, aluminum foil, paper towel, scissors, and a thick sheet of paper. All right, let me go ahead and move the camera so that you can see what I'll be doing. Give me a moment to do that. That will work. Let me close the blinds. That light's a little distracting. Okay, let's see how that looks. Yeah, it looks good. All right. So we're going to be doing some painting, some drawing, painting, and printing together. The first thing you need to do, though, is we need to turn this sheet into paper, one sheet of paper into 4 sheets of paper for rectangles. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half once. And then you can cut it where the fold is at. Okay? So we've turned one sheet of paper into 2 sheets of paper by cutting it in half. You're going to do the same thing to each of these. You're going to fold them in half and cut them. Fold it in half and cut it. So we turned one sheet of paper into 4 small rectangles. All right, we're going to put 3 of them aside, and we're going to now use the aluminum foil. So have your parents help you get, oh, look at that. I'm out of aluminum foil. Luckily it's enough for what we're doing though. That's lucky. I'm glad that happened. All right. So what you're going to do is you can get your piece of aluminum foil, about the size of a regular sheet of paper, maybe a little bit bigger. You're going to fold it in half. Then you're going to put one of those sheets that you cut down on top of the aluminum foil, and you're going to carefully fold them. And maybe your parents can help you with this part. Fold it like you're wrapping the piece of paper with aluminum foil. Okay? All right. So this wrapped piece of paper with aluminum foil is going to act as a palette for our paint, and it's going to act as a way to ink the plate with the markers and print with the markers, okay? And so we're going to do 2 different projects together. We have 3 sheets of paper left. We're going to do 2 together, and then the extra sheet you can do whatever you want on it. Okay. So the first one, let's let's do a step-by-step drawing together, okay? You guys know I love owls. I've taught some of you how to draw owls before. Let me zoom in. So let's draw an owl together so I can draw step by step with Mr. Talbot. All right, I can practice my drawing skills. I can identify and work with lines and shapes and textures. I can be an artist today. So let's do an owl, okay? So the way I like to do owls is I start with a big curved line like a big letter U. And I'm using a Sharpie, okay? This is permanent. We don't want to use the regular markers. We want to use Sharpie for this. So the letter U. Then you're going to connect the top of the letter U with a little curved line. It's not going to go down very much. It's just going to go down a little bit and then come back up. So it kind of looks like a cup. Then we need to find where the eyes are going to be, okay? So let's do 1 dot, 2 dots. So that's the middle of the eyes. Now owls look like they have really big eyes because of the feathers. They really don't have big eyes. Their eyes are normal size, but the feathers that go around them make them look like they have these big awesome eyes. So we're going to do a circle around the dot, circle around the dot, and one more time. Circle around the circle, circle around the other circle. So it looks like the owl has those big wide eyes, okay? Now our owl needs a little beak, so we're just going to do a triangle. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then this owl is just going to have his feathers laying at his side. Okay. So just the bottom of that biggest circle, we're just going to go down and curve out just a little bit. So there's his wings just hanging out at the side. Okay. Then he's going to have the claws, his talons, holding onto a branch. So we're just going to do little ovals. I'm just going to make them black. 1, 2, 3. 1. I put a space in between it. 2, 3. Okay. All right. Now our owl needs some texture for its feathers, so I'm going to do some zigzags in its feathers. I'm going to do some curved lines in its belly, like a rainbow. And then I'm going to do lines all the way around the eyes, like a clock. So there's the texture of the feathers. Okay? And you could put some scribbles in here to give it a little bit more texture, okay? And then let's make the branch. So the bottom of the branch, and then here's the top of the branch. And let's put some wavy lines for texture there. And then owls are nocturnal, they're at night, so let's put a moon right there, okay? So you can pause and rewind that part of the video as much as you want. So you're going to draw your owl. I'm going to put my name on there in Sharpie too. And now I'm going to show you how we're going to paint it with markers. Okay, so let me zoom back out. Okay, so here's our aluminum foil that we're going to use as a palette. So a palette is just a fancy word where we keep paint on it. So what we're going to do is you're going to get markers. You can choose whatever colors you want. I'm going to put some orange on here. So instead of pouring out paint on the palette, we're just going to draw with our marker, and you'll see how the ink from the marker starts to bead up on that aluminum foil. I'm going to do some purple. I'm going to do some blue for the sky. I'm going to do some green. And some yellow. I'm going to do a bunch of colors. I'm going to do some magenta and some brown. Alright, and some colors are going to show up better than others. So if you don't have watercolors and you want to watercolor, but if you have markers, this is an easy and fun way to work with markers as watercolors. So we're doing watercolors, we need a cup of water and we need a brush. Now these colors are not going to be super duper bright, but they still work. So let's go ahead, let's put some, see how quickly? So again, it's washable marker, so when it gets wet, it kind of activates it. The orange works really well in this process. Some colors are brighter than others. So I'm going to paint parts of my Al orange. Paint other parts brown. You can use whatever colors you want though. And he's going to have some purple in there too for fun. So just have fun with the colors. And this is why you want thick paper. It's hard to paint on regular paper. It just doesn't work as well. Okay, so there's my owl. I know trunks are usually brown, but I'm going to make my trunk green. Maybe it's covered in moss. Okay, and then for my night sky, I'm going to do blue. Nice dark blue. I could even mix it with the purple. Blue and purple make indigo, which is a nice dark color. Okay, and then a little bit of yellow for my moon. And I have some magenta that I didn't use. I'm going to put some magenta in my owl. Again, you can use whatever colors you want though. So there's a really fun way where you can use washable markers as a watercolor. It's awesome. Okay, so there's your watercolor and drawn owl. All right, now we're going to do a print. So in order to do that, we want to get a paper towel, clean off your palette. It should come off right off. We're going to set that aside, let it dry, and get ourselves another sheet of paper. And let's draw a tree for our owl to live in, okay? And we're going to put this tree in a shadow, so it's going to be all black. If you have a big black Sharpie permanent marker, ask your parents. They'll make it work really easier, go faster. So we're going to make a silhouette of a tree, so I can identify and draw a silhouette of a tree in shadow, nice and dark. So there's my hill. That marker's running out. Let's see how this marker does. And then we're going to draw a tree. So the way I like to draw trees is I make a letter Y, a nice big thick letter Y. Okay, and then you just add branches. Add some other lines. As many as you want. They could be straight, they could be crooked, they could be curvy, branches, whatever you want. Okay, so there's my tree in silhouette of a tree. I like to add a lot of branches. Maybe the branches will even go off the page. Let's have that. Cool. All right, so there's my silhouette of a tree. Now we could paint the background like we did with the owl, but I'm going to show you another technique. So here, I've got my plate again. In this case, so we used it as a palette before. Now we're going to use it as a print making plate. And all that means is you're going to color on the print on the plate and you're going to transfer it onto the piece of paper. Okay, that's what printing is. You make it on a plate and you transfer it onto usually a piece of paper. So let's do our sky, okay? Again, you can do whatever colors you want. I'm going to do blue. Just kind of scribble some nice colors in there. And do some purple. You can mix the colors on the plate as well. Blue and purple mix really nice. Remember, that makes a nice indigo. And I'm going to put some magenta in there too. Okay? All right, now what you're going to do to get this ink on the plate onto the piece of paper, we need to make the paper wet. We're not going to make the plate wet, we're going to make the paper wet first. So I'm just going to use my brush. I'm just going to paint my paper with just water. Okay, and then before it dries, you're going to turn it upside down, put it on that plate that you put the marker on, grab your paper towel, wad it up, hold your paper still, press and spin. So this is you printing, you transferring, or it's also sometimes called burnishing, rubbing. You're transferring the ink from the plate onto the piece of paper. Isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? And then you just clean your plate and you could do it again. All right, so there's the projects I wanted to do with you guys today. I hope you enjoy this. All right, so I can identify and work with washable markers as a paint and as a printing technique. Okay, so with your third piece of paper, and you still have the plate, you can do whatever you want. You could, if you liked the printing, you could do another one of those. If you preferred painting, you could do that. And whatever you make sure you write your name on it. And I would love for you to take a picture of it and send it to me, because I'd love to see your artwork. I miss you guys. I love you guys. I look forward to teaching you next year back at the school. So I hope all is well. I keep all you guys in my prayers. And stay well, have fun, and create a lot of art. Bye.